It's a beautiful fall season, and Neffy is enjoying his cute orange fall mousey with catnip on top. So cute. This amazing cat from history was literally carried in by the British Museum's famous Blackjack cat guard. We will share this amazing little guy's story with you in today's video. Hello and welcome back to Neffy Cat. We're so glad that you can join us today. Neffy absolutely loves this little mousey. Look at him roll. He says this is my favorite. So much so that I'll have a wardrobe malfunction just to make sure I can play. And it's fine. So cute. Mike was a beautiful gray tabby cat. He reminds me a little bit of Neffy, but he also reminds me of an older cat we used to have years ago in my family who was also a rescue. His name was Nabisco. Well, Mike was special because he was rescued by the British Museum's main cat that was their guard cat. He had been born as a stray kitten in London, England in February of 1908. That's how old this story is. As a kitten, Mike was literally carried to the museum by the cat's main museum cat named Blackjack, as I've mentioned. Perhaps Blackjack saw that this little kitten was in need and that he needed a home just like Blackjack had before because he had also been a stray. Well, Blackjack literally dropped the kitten Mike down in front of the feet of the museum keeper there. Well, the museum keeper was impressed and he let little Mike in. They ended up naming him Mike. Quickly, Mike learned the duties of his newfound profession as a British Museum guard. He followed Blackjack everywhere and he learned. One interesting thing, this is interesting, he learned, for example, to stun and bring in the pigeons that were on the premises to the housekeeper. They were alive still and were unharmed, and she would give Mike and Blackjack food and milk, and she would then release the pigeons unharmed. I think that is so cool. Mike spent 20 years at that British Museum as their guard. Time magazine called him the most famous British feline of the 20th century. People came to the British Museum just to meet Mike. He was often given treats and toys by his fans. He grew very, very famous. He was famous for loving his fans and chasing off intruding doggies who dared to venture onto the museum's grounds. Mike retired from official duty in 1924, and even so, people were still coming to see him and visit him, and articles in magazines such as the Star magazine were still being written about Mike. It's completely amazing. Mike finally passed away in January of 1929 at 20 years old. Wow! The Evening Standard newspaper there had an obituary to honor Mike. He even had a monograph that was put on his tombstone on the Great Russell Street entrance to the British Museum. And I think it's very meaningful that they actually made a tombstone for him. And that tomb monogram reads, "He assisted in keeping the main gate of the British Museum from February of 1909 to January of 1929. Well, Neffy gives his little wink of approval to this famous cat. Neffy gives his little wink of approval to Mike for being so famous and for guarding guarding the British Museum for 20 years. Wow! And for bringing fans in from all over the world, from philosophers to average, ordinary British citizens of that day and age. And to Blackjack for recognizing that this kitten was in need and bringing him into the museum to begin with by carrying him like a parent carries their kitten. And to the British Museum themselves for taking little Mike in and letting him have a forever home there, just like they did with Blackjack. And Neffy and I are delighted to share stories like this with all of you, and we thank you all for watching our video today. If you like the contents of our videos, don't forget to take those paws and paw that like button. You can paw the subscription button, and you can paw the notification bell. Paw when you paw that notification bell, and you'll be notified so that you can see all of Neffy Cat's videos. Well, thank you all so very much, and we look forward to seeing